Good morning. This is a presentation on the persistence of memory and artistic misinterpretations by Jorge Andrés Rincón. Well, I'll start by introducing my real-life situation. The Persistence of Memory is a very famous painting finished in 1931 by Spanish painter Salvador Dalí. My interpretation of the painting was how memory fades away with time. In the painting, we see how clocks are melting away in rigid structures. I took this as we grew older, our experiences and our memories, and all that we had lived once starts to fade away. We start to see it more distant, more vague. That was my original interpretation. However, it was a misinterpretation of what Dali wanted to demonstrate or portray in his piece. In reality, it is a surrealist form of saying, yes, time is relative, and yes, we live in a rigid universe, in a rigid world. This is shown by the melting away of the clocks, which represent time, while the universe, the hard part of the painting, are the rigid structures on which the clocks are melting. The knowledge issue I extracted from this real life situation is how important is it for the acquisition of knowledge that the art piece's purpose is understood by the audience. This is simply like a question of how critical is it for an audience to understand the artist's purpose in creating his piece, for it to derive new knowledge or new justified true beliefs. My knowledge claim is that the identification and comprehension of an art piece's purpose is not very important for the acquisition of new knowledge, since knowledge can be extracted from any interpretation so long as it has a solid fundamentation. We will see this throughout the presentation. For instance, in Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, contrasting interpretations have been developed throughout time, both supporting and criticizing his allegiance to the church. Many historians and many technicians state that the painting might be censoring Catholic beliefs. However, on the other hand, we have more orthodox interpretations that support his original allegiance to the Catholic Church. However, regardless of the interpretation, scientists and mathematicians have been analyzing the painting, seeing that there are very skillful proportions that are kept constant throughout the painting. They're known as the golden ratio, and they're kept constant all around, from the very top to the very bottom of the painting. Here we see that the interpretations are not needed for new knowledge to be derived, as painters and technicians learn how to paint properly regardless of their interpretation. The counterclaim for this is specific art pieces with specific art purposes cannot be misinterpreted if proper knowledge is to be acquired. This is a photo taken by Oliviero Toscani. It is called La Pieta, and it is my counterclaim example. It was an advertising campaign for the Italian brand Benetton, and Oliviero Toscani used a gay rights activist and his family to raise awareness for AIDS. The activist suffers from AIDS and he's dying while his grieving family tries to comfort each other. We see this in the painting. However, the main purpose of the painting is raising awareness about AIDS. If we see a misinterpretation of actually supporting gays, homosexual activities, or another explanation for the painting, we miss the purpose of raising awareness for AIDS. So for this specific example, we see that the interpretation, that the artist's purpose has to be interpreted for new knowledge to be derived, and that is that AIDS is a dangerous and perilous disease that has to be prevented at all costs. These are the sources I use for this presentation. Thank you for listening.